For much of the 20th century, cultural theory has been polarized between idealist accounts, such as those proposed by traditional literary humanists, and materialist accounts, normally of especially vulgar Marxist kind, comparing such idealisms and materialisms in 1981. Raymond Williams observed that the importance of each position is that it leads to intensive study of the relation between cultural activities and other forms of social life. The sociology of culture, as it entered the second half of the 20th century, was broadly compounded of work done from these two positions. During the 1960s and 1970s, however, new theoretical paradigms were brought into play which sought to establish the materiality of culture itself. As Williams continued, a new kind of converse it is becoming evident. It differs in its sense that cultural practice and cultural production are not simply derived from other words constitute social order, but are themselves major elements in this constituent in cis culture as the signifying system through which necessary a social order is communicated, reproduced, experienced, and explored. Williams himself could write in peculiar authority on this subject quite simply because on his work had come to provide the paradigmatic instance in the English-speaking world at least of especially that new kind of convergence. The term cultural materialism was one Williams had coined to denote his own break from an older tradition of British communication Marxism on one hand, and from that distinct British version of literary humanism associated above all with the work of the Levites on the other. But the term can easily be used more generally to describe this emergent body of cultural theory. It is that convergence, and more particularly Williams' own contribution therein, which provide this paper with its central subject matter. What exactly are we to understand by the term cultural materialism? Williams himself first used it in a short essay published in the 100 issues of the New Left Review. Cultural materialism, he explained, is a theory of culture as a social and material productive process and of specific practices of arts as social use of material means of production, or from language as material practical consequences to the specific technologies of writing and forms of writing, through to mechanical and electronic communication systems. The position would be spelled out more fully, he added, in Marxism and literature and in the book that would eventually he published as Culture. There is an important sense in which these two books do indeed spell out the theory, and they will, then, command much of our attention here. But we should note also William own his insistence in the introductions to Marxism and literature that cultural materialism had been a position which, as a matter of theory, I have arrived at over the years. Its prehistory in what I will term Williams' earlier left culturalism thus provides as convenient a starting point as any for a critical appraisal of the latter cultural materialism itself.